guys, so this is probably going to be a very overwhelming video for me to make, so forgive me if I am stumbling over my words or possibly not making sense, but that's how I am for most of my videos anyways. But I have been getting a lot of questions about Nolan's test results because of the last update I had made of Nolan was back in December, and I talked about not doing an update until I knew for sure. I just want to do like a quick rundown. So we got our first set of tests back for muscular dystrophy, and those came back normal, saying no Duchenne or Becker. Those are the two main types of muscular dystrophy. So then we did another test, and this is where I got confused. When it comes to genes and DNA and testing, I don't really understand it that too well. It seems very complicated to me. But the first test that was done was called a duplication test, gene duplication. And that was just like an overall test that would determine if there was any Duchenne present in that blood test, which there wasn't. It came back normal. So what the neurologist then did was called sequencing. It's more, the best way that I can understand it and that doctors have explained it to me is that it's more in depth and more looking at the structure, I guess you could say, of the gene, the dystrophin gene, which is you know, what causes muscular dystrophy. So I was under the impression that they would be testing for different, like other different kinds, which I think they did, but what was really going on was that they were looking at that gene more closely in a different kind of test. That's the thing about a blood test, is that there's just not one specific blood test to give you all the answers that you need. There are different types and different ways, and it's just, it gets so confusing, and I have done so much research on this just so I can be informed and understand, and I still like get confused when I'm talking to the neurologist and trying to understand everything. So the sequencing test was done in the beginning of December, and that's when I gave you guys the update on Nolan and everything going on. That's kind of when I first told you guys what was going on with all the different blood tests, and when I first mentioned to you guys about the muscular dystrophy. So let's see, 7-8 weeks from that point, which was a week ago, we saw a new neurologist. We kind of just wanted to get a new opinion and kind of just wanted to see what they were thinking and what they were saying. It never hurts to talk to another doctor and see what they says. And actually the one that we went to, she is a very well-known neurologist in the Carolinas. Like, she's very knowledgeable. We're not saying that the other neurologist wasn't, but she's just very, I guess you could say, popular. I don't know how to say it. You guys get what I'm saying. So we saw her, we kind of went over everything. She actually gave me information, new information. We went over so many different things, and that's when I found out that the test that was done was sequencing. It wasn't just for checking other kinds of dystrophies, it was to get a more in-depth look, like I was saying before. We were actually hoping by that appointment we would have had the test results in, and I kept calling and calling the genetics, like, when is the test coming in? I probably aggravated the genetics counselor a little bit, and she says that the results are still pending. I should hear something next week. So that was the week of the neurologist appointment, and the neurologist actually had her assistant call the genetics office to see if the test results in, had to call the lab that it was actually done at, which I think they send it off to all different kinds of places. I think one is like Duke University, and the other one I can't think of at the top of my head. So they actually called those labs to see if the results are in, and unfortunately they were not in. So we were hoping that the results would be in so we could talk about what would be the next step. Like, okay, if he does have this, or we know exactly what's going on, let's move on to like treatment options. If he doesn't have a dystrophy, then, you know, let's do something else. So that was kind of what I was hoping for that appointment, and we didn't have the results, so I had to go home. But she did want to retest his CPK levels, which, as you guys know, well, if, many of you may not know, but if you've watched the video, the first update, then you would know. But CPK levels has to do with a certain enzyme in your muscles. It also affects your heart and your respiratory. So when your CPK levels are high, that means that there is stress or damage to your muscles. Sometimes people can get high CPK levels after having a serious injury. It's very crucial that those enzymes help support your muscles. What I'm trying to say is they're crucial for supporting your muscles. So Nolan's first test of the CPK was in the 10,000. So we retested again, and that was, I believe that point was on a Thursday or Friday with the neurologist, and we were hoping we would have those results that we hadn't had for that appointment at least for Monday. So weekend goes. On Monday, I get the call from the genetics counselor, and she tells me that the results are in and that it came back that it was a variant of unknown significance. So what that means is that the test couldn't confirm or rule out that Nolan has a muscular dystrophy or a dystrophin gene. And she told me that that has never happened in her office before. It's extremely rare for that to happen, and in her line of work, she's never seen a test result come back like that. Also, Nolan has a, let me pull it up really quick, because I talked about this in his last update as well. I hope I don't murder how you pronounce this. I will leave it right here. His methylmalonic acid levels, I hope I said that right, are also very high, and that has to do with your getting enough B12, vitamin B12 in your diet. So either that could be a deficiency or a dietary thing. So that was another thing that we went over, and I'm just like already going all over the place, so I'm gonna backtrack. So since the test results gave us no answers, the next step on the genetic side, because they can't really do much as, you know, they can't really do much other than, I don't want to say they can't do much other than blood tests, but in our situation, they can't do much more than that. So the next step on their end, totally separate from the neurologist, was to test me to see if I have the dystrophin gene. Now this is where it kind of gets a little cloudy for me, because I have heard different things, but mainly the main thing that I have been told and that I have researched myself is that the dystrophin gene comes from the mother because it has something to do with the X chromosome. Mainly boys are affected, but sometimes, rarely, girls can be affected, but it is passed down through the mother. Actually, the neurologist said there has been some situations where it has came from the dad as well, or it could have been just like a mutation where it could have just randomly happened. So last week I got my blood drawn. They're gonna check to see if I have the gene, the dystrophin gene, and also we have to go back for another appointment to retest his urine again, and that could, like I said, be a deficiency just within Nolan, or that could be a dietary thing. So we're gonna see what's going on with there, because those levels were really high. So that's pretty much all that has happened on the genetic side of it. Like I said, they can't really do that much as far as just blood tests. Like that's really the main thing that they can do right now. On the neurologist end, because she also got those results back and wanted to discuss, and she told me that his levels are still high. They are in the 8,000s, which she said typically with muscular dystrophies those levels can fluctuate, but 8,000 is still extremely high for CPK levels. So we do know that something is going on, and I've got a lot of questions like, well, could it be something else related to the high levels? And yes, it can be, but typically in most cases, and it's very common that with kids with these kind of levels have something going on with their muscles, muscular dystrophy, something's going on, and we know that's the case with Nolan. We went over a lot of things. Nolan, I haven't mentioned this to you guys, and maybe you guys may have picked it up on the videos. Nolan is, I don't want to say he's extremely weak, because some kids, when they have a muscular dystrophy, they're really, really weak, but he does show signs of weakness. For example, he can't go from a sit to a stand. At this age, he should be doing that, but he has a lot of trouble going from, like, if he was in a sitting to standing up, he has to crawl to a wall or a chair, a piece of furniture, or myself, and then that's how he will stand up. He also falls down a lot, and I don't know if he's just clumsy, but that is one thing that we have noticed as well. He falls, trips over stuff a lot, very easily to fall down. Also, the way he walks is a little concerning too. So those are some signs. The neurologist says that we could just be catching this early if this is what is going on, and this is just maybe the start of it. So that was one thing that we discussed as well. So the next step on the neurologist end, she went over the different options, because if he does have a muscular dystrophy, we need to find out as soon as possible. The doctors want to find out as soon as possible, of course, to start treatment. But as parents, I have told you guys from the get-go that it's just that all the blood tests and all the doctors and all of that stuff has been the hardest right now. At this point, I just want to know what's going on, because then I can know the next step. And what is the next step as far as treatment? Like, okay, if he has this, then he has it. Okay, we can deal with it, we can move on. But we're not even at that stage right now. And this has been going on for 4 or 5 months. And it honestly feels like the longest 4 months of my life. And I'm just speaking for myself. Like, Ian has his own feelings about it as well. He internalizes a lot of stuff, and as do I. I don't even know what I'm trying to get at, but what I guess I'm trying to say is that it has been really long for myself. I'm the one that's going on the appointments because Ian's working. I'm experiencing it firsthand. I just wanted to know what was going on. I just wanted to know. But like I said, we're still not there yet. So the next step, the neurologist said, we could either keep doing blood tests, and then you would have to keep waiting 4 to 6 weeks, and you could keep doing them and still not getting a clear answer. Or we can go forward with a muscle biopsy, where they will actually put him under for anesthesia, take a sample of his muscle in his quad, the front of his leg, and take a sample and test it. It will take about the same time to get those results back as a blood test, but the great thing about a muscle biopsy is that it's more pinpointing, because you're actually taking the sample of the muscle, testing it itself, rather than doing a blood test, which, it does give clear answers, but not as clear of an answer to the muscle biopsy. So as parents, Ian and I talked about it, because it's been a very, very hard decision for us, because I just look at Nolan as my little 18-month-old baby. Well, he's more so a toddler, but for me, he's still my baby boy. And he just went under surgery for his hand under anesthesia, and we've been pricking and poking him with needles this whole time, still not getting answers. And I'm just like, the beginning of his life, this is all he knows. All he knows is going to the doctors, talking to doctors, getting blood tests, and it's getting so mentally and physically draining and exhausting. And I just want to know, I just want to know what's going on. So we have decided, I actually met with our surgeon yesterday, or not the surgeon, I'm sorry, the neurologist yesterday, a different one, who is going to set up surgery for the muscle biopsy. We went over everything. We talked to him about, since he just went under their surgery, is it fine for him to go under another surgery? And he said that's fine and everything. We're gonna wait till he gets his cast off. He said sometime maybe end of February is when we'll do the muscle biopsy. It'll be kind of like the same setup as when he had his hand surgery. Go early in the morning, pre-op, all that stuff, and he will get the sample, and it will leave a little scar. And I'm just, it was such a tough decision, because it is a surgery, putting him under anesthesia, and going under a knife, getting a muscle sample. But I try to remind myself and look at it as, yes, he will have to go under another surgery, and it's gonna be a whole whirlwind of emotions again. But we're hoping that this will pinpoint what is going on with Nolan, because in my mind, I'm thinking if he really does have Duchenne and we have missed it over these tests, or if he really has Becker, or a serious muscular dystrophy, I want to know now, because I want to know what treatment options are. Because if you guys know anything about muscular dystrophy, it's scary. It is really scary, and I don't even really like to think about it, because I get really emotional over it, and it just really, really scares me as a parent. So I just want, I feel terrible for putting him through this, but you know, I feel like I have done something wrong and that I'm the one that's deciding things all for him, and what if it's not the right decision? And I feel terrible as a parent, and I just want what's best for Nolan. I really do. I want what's best for him, and I want to know and find out as soon as possible. And you know, the blood tests, we could keep doing them and doing them and doing them and not getting an answer, and here all this time has gone by, and where we could have just did the muscle biopsy, and actually it would have been a perfect time when we did his surgery, but we were still waiting for those second test results back to give us an answer, which didn't give us any answers, you know. So now we're gonna have to go with the muscle biopsy, and this will hopefully, and I say hopefully, but it is more accurate to finding out an answer of what is going on with Nolan. I feel like I just like talked so much and just threw out so much information to you guys, and I just feel so overwhelmed right now. And I just wanted to give you guys an update. You know, I've actually known this for over a week now, but it's just been a lot for me to digest and think about before giving you guys an update. And I know a lot of you care about Nolan, and you guys are constantly thinking about him, and I can never thank you guys enough for that. I really can never thank you guys enough for that, for always caring, always supporting us, and it just honestly means so much to us. So I hope that this has answered a lot of questions. I feel like I'm leaving some questions unanswered that I've been getting questions over the past months. So if you do have any questions, please leave it down below, and I will try to get back to you guys when I can. I might be leaving out some stuff, but that's the plan of what's going on. We are going to go forward with the muscle biopsy just so we can find out exactly what's going on and treat it. And we're just hoping that everything goes well, and I will keep you guys updated along the way. I just kind of want to give you guys a heads up for what's going on right now, since I feel like a lot has changed since my last update on Nolan. Yeah, that is it for this video. So I almost cried a few times, which I don't get emotional on camera or like in front of people. I internalize a lot of stuff, so that was a little weird because I don't think I've ever got really that emotional on camera before. So whew, shake it out, Britney. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.